Hi, welcome back to Jay's Bass channel, and today we will be talking about the Player Jazz. Basically the older Player Jazz is the #1 variation of the Player Jazz Bass by Fender. This is not the Squire, but the actual entry model into the Fender line. And I got this a while back, and it's been sitting around, and I'm finally getting around to reviewing it. Obviously still got the hang tags and the plastic on this thing. I'm more of a precision player, but jazzes are kind of the yin to the yang on the Fender basses. So let's talk about basically what we have going on here. We have your classic jazz setup. You have your treble or your bridge pickup, your bass, or your neck pickup. And also another thing we have going on here is our neck is narrower than your standard precision neck. So people that like smaller necks like these, and people that like to be able to dial their tone more when you use the neck pickup, you'll notice it's more like a precision. You bring in, add the bridge pickup, and it thins the sound out quite a bit. So again, you have your straight precision style deal here. Then you can dial in the neck pickup. So that kind of dips out a lot of the low mid and such, and kind of cleans it up in a way. Obviously the bigger, more thunderous low end is going to be with the precision, and if you like to carve up your tone and do a funk, things like that, these jazzes are a good thing. So let's talk about this specific bass. So we have all your standard stuff here. The neck is obviously a maple neck. The fingerboard edges are rolled a little bit. They're very, very comfortable. And I'll have to say, out of this box, I was very impressed by the Fender Player basses in general. This one is no exception. This is a great neck. The pickups sound good. The bridge itself is, the barrels on the bridge here look a little heavier duty than some of the old stock vintage ones. So there's really nothing negative to say about this bass, and being that it's an entry level one. I think it goes for $800, and then you get them for whatever you can get them for. The only thing I noticed that's a little different is the workmanship on things like the nut are a little, you can feel the rougher edges on the nut, but on the fret edges, you really can't. The nut's no big deal. Also, the tuners on these things are a little lighter duty than, say, an American Standard or something like that. They're definitely usable. When I buy a bass, oftentimes I'll hot rod the bass per se, and I will put something like a high mass bridge back here, and I'll put better tuners on it, unless I have an actual American bass, and a lot of times you don't have to do that. But even with some of the older American ones, the bridges are light duty, and you'll replace those with thicker, heavier bridges. And then pickups as well, you sometimes modify those. But this bass could still use a little more setup, but it's playable right out of the box. And it comes with the Fender round wound strings. So if you want to hear the bass on this, just sort of simplistic stuff. That's with all the pickups and the tone knob full up. On this bass, you have a volume for the neck pickup, a volume for the bridge pickup, then an overall tone. You can actually go in and modify those, and I've done that on jazz basses before, done modifications, but and not have them stock, but that's your stock jazz deal. And you can see the body style is a little different from a precision. Let's kind of grab a precision here. Here's a player precision, and you can kind of see the difference in the body styles. Also, if you look at the neck, at the top of the neck, you'll see how much narrower the jazz bass is. I'm an old bass player, so I like the fatter, thicker necks, moderately heavy anyway. I don't like the super baseball bats, but the player bass necks are very comfortable to me. And I play old 70s basses, and these things kind of feel like home. But that's kind of the deal with the Player Series basses. The finish is good. The workmanship overall is good. Little things like when you adjust the tension up here, it's a little harder to get the wrench in than, say, an upper end model. You find that the nut is a little, edgy and things like that. But overall, there's really nothing the matter with this bass. And, if you want something versatile and with a small neck up here, I mean, this is kind of the ticket. So there's your overall look at this bass. This one does not come with a gig bag. What you see is what you get. You just get the bass, and you'll get the tools to adjust the bridge, and also a tool to adjust the tension on the neck. So there's a bolt up in there, or I guess that you slide not a bolt, but a little receptor for an Allen wrench that you basically drop the thing in and tighten the neck up to straighten it when you're setting it out, and you get that. And again, there's if you roll the other pickup back. I basically went to a band rehearsal, and I took this bass out and compared it to both a regular precision and one of the Ventera Telecaster basses. This was by far the smallest sounding bass. It cut through the most, though. It's got a lot of cut. If you want to play through a smaller amp and be heard on stage, this is a good bass for that. But as far as a really large, thunderous low end, I would definitely recommend the Precision for somebody that's wanting that sort of sound if you're in the Fender bass realm. And so far on the bass channel, we're just dealing with Fender basses, and once we get through all those, we'll move on to some Music Mans, maybe Rickenbackers and things like that. But anyway, there's my quick look at the Player Series Fender Jazz Bass.